Hey guys, and welcome to another edition of Pro Hire Truck TV. And you know, it's the channel where we try and do alternative fuels, electric cars, vans, and of course trucks. And realistically, it's around about being sustainable. One of the things I wanted to try and do over the past few weeks, and certainly going into the future, is to try and show people not just new vehicles, but vehicles that have got a bit of age around them, vehicles that have got a few miles on them, and try to give some confidence into some of the rhetoric we see across the UK, and certainly when it comes to the world, when it comes to EV bashing. And look, you know, I'm not suggesting that EV is a perfect solution for everyone, but it's certainly not the devil incarnate that we've come to see from certain quarters. I've got behind me one of the cars that's exiting our fleet, and we've had this car now for 4 years. And in that 4 years, we've covered just around 100,000 miles. And over the next few minutes, I want to try and give you a flavour for reality and just see what that's been like for us in that journey. Now, there'll be a lot of people really that say, well, actually, you know, this was an expensive car in its day and still is today. And of course, you know, it's not the same as some of the smaller ones. We've got some of the smaller versions in the fleet, still covering some eye-watering mileage, and they're still doing the same thing. This is just the one with the highest mileage on. And of course, as we move into this, if Tesla do bring out something using the same technology, which is within that £25,000 to £30,000 price range using the same technology, then of course it becomes a very different conversation altogether. Now, look, you know, this vehicle, and I have to say, I'll be the first one to talk about it. Mine is about a year newer than this, with around 80,000 miles on it. So I wanted to try and do the highest mileage one to give you a feel for it. Over the next few minutes as well, I want to talk about the money we spent on this vehicle over that 4 years and 100,000 miles, and give you a flavour for that. But also embedded in this vehicle from day one, we've put our own telematics system into it. So we should be able to give you a flavour for the quality of the veracity, the quality of the battery life now at 100,000 miles compared with when the vehicle was new. And that's going to be some of the important conversations that we have. Of course, the service history, we know how much money is spent on it, and we'll bring that to life for you. But actually, generally, the vehicle stood up very well, you know, and I was never sure about that at the beginning myself, because I've had some, you know, trims falling off and some different bits and pieces, which have really been a pain, and especially when you spend the kind of money that you spend on a car like this. You know, 100,000 miles, handles are all still working, there's nothing that doesn't work on the car, it drives really well. And just yesterday passed its second MOT, well, falling over, it passed its second MOT with a minor fault to be repaired. Now, this car has never had a service, and it's never been due one. So never had a service in its life in 100,000 miles. Can you imagine, or you can imagine, how much you spend on a diesel version servicing, etc., over that period? And certainly no less than 4, but probably five oil changes, 5 major services from a franchise dealer. We haven't had to do that, and I was, for one, was quite perturbed about the conversation around that, but that's been the case. This vehicle is still on its original brake pads. I mean, can you imagine doing 100,000 miles in a diesel petrol vehicle on its same brake pads? Pretty impressive, I would say, you know. But, you know, what we'll do is we'll take this car for a run and let's see what it drives like. And also, importantly, how is it doing for range currently against where it was new. Let's go and take it for a run. Oh, here we go. Of course, you know, this car, as I said, has done, you know, just short of 100,000 miles, and I have to say, in fairness to it, from a wear point of view, it's pretty decent. You know, it's actually, nothing's worn out, everything works, as you'd expect. Of course, the car's only 4 years old, but it's doing some significant work every day. And when you think about it, 25,000 miles is kind of average for a light commercial vehicle. So we'll get the ball rolling. But I think one of the conversations for me as well is it's clear that servicing some types of electric vehicles can be more cost effective than others, and certainly with some of the earlier vehicles that we had in our fleet, when we've gone for other manufacturers like Volkswagen, with teeth back in, and Jaguar, you know, 18,000 mile services at £300 and £400. I'm not sure what we're getting for the money. each time we've interacted with Tesla with this vehicle, it's been a conversation around through an app, and people have either come out to it or fixed it online, which of course has been different, I think, for a lot of people. I think it's getting used to that different way of working. Is it ideal? Is it perfect? It has its drawbacks, but it also has its advantages. And quite now, I'm quite sure really on pros and cons on that. I think certainly on the cons side, they have you captured when it does come for ordering parts, etc., etc. If you do need them, there's a significant uplift to pay. But certainly when it comes into warranty and people coming out to your house and fixing things that have gone wrong, perhaps whatever they may be, I think is pretty impressive, to be fair. So I'm kind of I don't have an issue with that whatsoever. Car's been driven by the same person pretty much for 100,000 miles and returning around 3 miles to the kilowatt hour. I have to say, with the big wheels, heavy car, could we do better? Mine's doing about 3.4, 3.5, so I'm not saying I drive any better or worse, it's just one of those things. So achieving 4 miles to the kilowatt hour of this vehicle I still think is possible, and certainly for the whole entirety of the summer for mine I've tried to drive it in a different way, and certainly from the last 18,000 miles I think I've pretty managed to get north of 4 or towards that 4 mark on a regular basis. So I suppose we should take it for a run, and I suppose with a lot of cars that have done 100,000 miles, they've got their own little foibles and wear, and this vehicle, fully charged, is still giving 340 miles or so, 350 miles, which is pretty impressive, considering that we're showing a 334 mile range at the moment, and it's certainly not fully charged by any stretch of the imagination. So we'll be able to show what that charge is on it. Let's see if we can find it now, in fairness. They've got some dandy colours on here. Let's have a look. Charging. So we're at about 92% and in the car currently, and we're showing a range of 334 miles, which is exactly where it was when it started off its journey with us all those years ago. So let's take this for a clear that down so we can have a look at that, and then we'll take this for a run. I mean, these cars were always quick, and this is absolutely no exception. That it has not lost an ounce of pace. Get out of here. Not lost an ounce of pace in the last 4 years, which I have to say is extremely impressive. And the conversation I think I wanted to really have a narrative today around was or the conversation that we have in Pro Green and Pro Hire, certainly when we start talking about electric vehicles and how they will degrade, is just how much life is left in the battery pack, the technology that goes behind it. The car itself has stood up really well to the rigours of the world we live in. But of course, the proof of the pudding, or the worry, I think, probably for people who are going to want to take a car on its second journey, is what's it going to cost me when it comes into batteries and all of those good things. I'm glad to report with this, it's still doing, I said, around 3.1, but it can do 4. But certainly from my perspective, a range of 330, 340 miles, 90% is showing, is testament to that. People are telling me that, 100,000 miles, we're going to be down to 60%. This is just not, just isn't. It's just right up there with pretty much where it was. But we have technology on board, so all of our electric vehicles are connected to our call centre at Pro Green, and we'll be able to show you, as I said before, on the percentage of life left in the battery from a new percentage, which is super important. So going back to money spent, we'll be able to show you, I think, and what we'll do is try and paste it into some of the corners in the videos, because otherwise it'll become quite a boring narrative. And we actually share through our website, or if any guys want to contact us, the detail of what I'm talking about today. Service history, we have a full service history of the vehicle, show you where we were, tyres, everything that's been fitted to the vehicle, because a lot of people say, well, actually, these electric vehicles use a lot more tyres. I think they're right. There is certainly a number of tyres used. However, if you're looking at a big diesel car, front 20-25,000 miles, rear a bit more. There's a percentage more on what these tyres are doing. They're not cheap, the tyres are not cheap, but they're not that much more expensive than the big tyres you see on big diesel cars. And I think we've got to try and reference a big lump like a big 5 Series, an E-Class against something like this, and certainly at this size, maybe even a 7 Series. So, but really quick. Oh my God, flying along as it's done for new, and that, it's as quiet, as quick, as nimble, and as solid as it was when it was new. Okay, solid, not solid. The quality of the build on these vehicles that were manufactured, certainly ones manufactured in America, I have to say, was never great. And when I say quality of build, trims and things like that, really, quite frankly, quite poor. But the technology on board, the great things with these is they've been updated constantly for 4 years. So you never a month goes by without a new update coming down the line, which plug and play, which it's a different car than it was back in 2019, and I guess from my perspective, that says a great deal about how Tesla have advanced their processes. And I want to really be conscious when you start looking at the smaller models that Tesla are bringing into or onto the ground in Europe over the next few years. They're using the same build profile, same technology, same smart tech as they would in the larger car, which most manufacturers tend to do. What an amazing little car that's going to be. We have quite a number of Model Ys and quite a model of Model 3s in our company car fleet, and for those who have looked at our ASG report, we're looking to transfer all of our company cars from diesel to electric by 2025, and we're ahead of the game at the moment in that space, and I think it's incumbent on us to keep trying to develop tools to allow people to take these vehicles on for that second journey. This is a good car. It's a really good car. It's done a lot of hard work. It stood up to it well. The seats have stood up to it well. I was never sure about the plastic seats or pleather or whatever that these people, it's sustainable, so we're going to use leather. They stood up super well. There's no wear on them at all for 100,000 miles, and of course with the leather seats, you know what that comes to. So I'm really pleased. I think we've done really well with the car. Goes away from the fleet, and the new vehicle arrives in a week's time. And Gary Bannister, our operations director, this is his car, has chosen the Model Y this time, and rightly so. I think he's just waiting for it to arrive now, and we'll dispose of this wonderful chariot that's done, like I say, 100,000 miles over the period. Again, when you look at this as well, we're talking about around about 45 or 50,000. We'll put the note up there. 50,000 kilos of carbon saved from a diesel perspective over that period as well. There's a lot of stuff you see in the internet about, it's cost more to do this, it's cost more to do that. It's 45,000 kilos of carbon saved through one single vehicle over the past 4 years, and that's, again, it's significant. It's absolutely significant when it comes to not just the CO2 savings, but absolutely it's critical that we understand where particulate matter, nitrogen oxides and sodium oxides, all of this stuff, really where it comes down to clean air and the quality of the air that we breathe. And we should have a right to clean water and clean air in the UK in 2023. So it's not just about CO2, it's absolutely about how the quality of the air that we breathe and the roads that we drive on, and certainly for when when you start looking at the amount of increase in childhood asthma and so forth and so on. These cities that we live in today have got to find a way of travelling through them and around them and not polluting them any more than they already are. It's extremely important. But let's take this for a run and just see how good it really is. So guys, we're back in sunny Stoke, and back at HQ for Pro Hire with quite a nostalgic journey for me with our first Tesla, and we just had the battery analysis run, which we'll show in the video. 91% of its original energy use is still left in that battery. So 91% of capacity from when it was first new 100,000 miles ago. That's super impressive. And you know, from my perspective, you know, even if you were another 100,000 miles, if we can keep that same rate ratio, you've still got a very, very usable car for a long time to come. And that's one of the most important messages from today, that, you know, electric vehicles looked after well will do, or will create and give you a long time of use. They're expensive, but equally so, as you start to move into the newer ones, the prices are starting to come down, and as they come down, the quality is going up and the longevity will continue to increase. You know, this has been a great call for me. I love doing this video today, and love being out in one of our new Teslas, or old new Tesla, my first Tesla I should say. If you like what we do and you try it, please subscribe, and of course like if you can. All the information around this car and everything else that we do is available on our Pro World, on our Pro Hour website. Of course, everything we show in our videos is available to talk about, and if you need any support and help through our Pro Green division, please give us a call and a shout, and we'll be happy to come and talk to you. Thanks again, guys. Take care. See you soon.